So do we have any questions in the last session? Case transformation. Let me have a quick recap of the last session. So what we have discussed. So we have discussed regarding a case transformation. And also, of course, the query transformation. So how to implement the left outer join, how to implement an inner join. So how actually the multiple tables can be like joined with a query transformation, and so how actually the join conditions can be written in the from clause, and so how actually the template table will work out. So we have learned what are all the different options to enhance the performance a technique in SAP, I mean to say BODS Designer, especially with query transformation. So after that, we have discussed regarding the case transformation. So what is the case transformation? And so what is the case transformation will does in general? So where actually the case transformation will be used? So it is mentioned like in an upstream transformation. So it will work on the depends upon the two basic the parameters like labels and expressions. So what actually the label will does, what actually the expression will does. So what is the relationship between the label and the expression? So what is the like the default the parameter where it will take care of an else part. So that is called as like in the default table like others, where whatever the condition that is not satisfied with the number of like the branch logics and all. So those logics will be taken care by those others, the else part of the case transformation. Case transformation will give us a default a label. If you want to use it, you can use it. Otherwise, you can ignore that label. So that is what we have discussed in the previous session of the, with regards to the case transformation and the query transformation. Now, in this particular the session, so we will focus on the merge transformation. So when I say merge transformation, so the name itself says that the data coming from 2-3 different sources, we can merge it. So that is what actually like meant by the merge transformation. That's where actually so we are discussing regarding the merge transformation. So when I say merge transformation, so the basic importance of the merge transformation is to the usage and the flexibility of combining the 2-3 data sources. So yesterday we have discussed like query transformation will work on the intersection, like joining the two tables is nothing but an intersection. But whereas the merge transformation will take care of a union, it is very, very important. The intersection is taken care by the query transformation, whereas the union is taken care by the merge transformation. So it can be used in anywhere. It can be an upstream transformation or downstream transformation. So it depends upon the requirements. And let us take an example of where actually the merge transformation will be used. So let us take an example that so we have Walmart units in small towns, maybe small cities, and in in metropolitan cities. Let us take an example. So maybe the Walmart has decided to use an SAP. Maybe he used an Oracle apps or maybe Stable Analytics in large cities, and whereas in small cities they want to use simply an Excel sheet or Excel based application in order to capture their billing information at the billing desk. But finally, the CEO of the company wants to analyze how many sales on different products, how much sale on the holidays, how much sale on the, like maybe weekends, on public holidays. So he wants to understand all the information, consolidated information across all the Walmart units. So in that aspect, what actually we have to do? We have to do a union of the data across the different locations, across the different applications, then group by, maybe aggregated. Everything we have to do in an SAP BODS, then we have to load it into the a common a data warehousing system, maybe common database or centralized database where we can create some dashboards or reports out of it. So that is basically the like aim of the CEO or aim of the data modeling guy or data analyst, what he wants to analyze. So with that process, maybe SAP is having its own terminology, to store the data. So if you are talking about a sales, so we have different, like we have a VBAK, is a table name for an SAP Word for sales header. VBAP is a table name for sales order line item. So that is another table name, and even the the table name is in VBAP, VBAK. Similarly, the column names are also very different in German language. But whereas in an Excel sheet, how actually they are going to maintain? Maybe in traditional English, what they have. So that is what actually the basic challenge will come up. So how actually we are going to perform a union of the data? So that is where actually the major challenge will come up. So that's where actually we have to understand, we have to fulfill some like the prerequisite conditions within an SAP BODS merge transformation, so that we can use the merge transformation across the heterogeneous systems. The prerequisite conditions to use the merge transformation is we need to have the same number of columns, the same column names, the same data types of columns, the same sequence of columns and the input schemas. So that is the basic information that we need to have it actually. So that is the basic information the customer will expect, or the BODS the team will expect. So these are the prerequisite conditions that these two, the heterogeneous system must follow. But you will get a doubt whether it is practically possible that SAP and an Excel sheet will have the same naming convention, same orders, same data types, same sequence of columns, same number of columns. No, it is not at all possible that heterogeneous systems will follow the same naming conventions or same number of columns or same data types and sequence. But we have to, as a developers, we have to make those two heterogeneous systems will maintain or will have a same schema structure as I mentioned previously. All these prerequisites should be fulfilled. So with the help of query transformations again, so we have to make sure that all these prerequisite conditions are satisfied before using the merge transformation. So now we will see an example of heterogeneous systems where the data is coming from an Excel sheet and the data can be coming from from the Microsoft SQL Server. So what happens if we have an Excel sheet as a source or .csv file as a source, and if we have Microsoft SQL Server as a source? So what happens if we have a heterogeneous systems? What happens if they are maintaining, if they are not maintaining these prerequisite conditions? What exactly the error messages that will throw? And in order to complete the flow, or in order to load the data into the target system, SQL Server, so what are all the actions that needs to be done? That we will take care now. So now let me jump on the SQL Server. So let me try. So this is what actually, so if you're able to see my screen, so records coming from two heterogeneous systems. One is file, which is called file, and another one is called the database. And we are performing a union of records to get customers and suppliers by city. So that is a basic idea of using this particular merge transformation. So now, so I'm trying to log in into the BODS server. Oh, what are they saying? Yeah, I'm trying to connect to the SQL server. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, that's what they said, Chandra. The organizer has told me. Like, I think today you will get the server access. That's what she has mentioned in the last call. So, yeah, so maybe I will also remind to those people. So once again, today you should get a server access. Unfortunately, what are the server I'm using daily that is not connecting currently. So I've connected to different server. Let's see. Yes, I'm able to log in. Now I will try to log into a different server. Okay, somehow it's not connected. Yes, I connected to a different server now. I'm trying to log in. Um, Trying to use the username and password. In the meantime, so because this is a new server, so what I will do is I will try to log into the SQL Server 2008. Let me check whether I have, you know, the proper tables we have or not. One second, guys. Let me call that admin and let me log in. Just give me 1 minute. So in the meantime, so do you have any questions? So please ask me. So Guys, good news is that we are able to connect to the the BODS server. I'm just checking on the SQL server and the BODS stuff connectivity. Just give me 1 minute. Thank you. Okay guys, we are all set. So I think the server guy has fixed the problem. So we are able to log in into the server. So what is server that we are daily using? And sorry for that, sorry for the delay. And yeah, so we will be jumping on to the SQL, the server, the BODS server, and we will try to understand. So what actually we are trying to do here. So that's where actually we started here. So as I mentioned previously, so one of the source for us is an Excel sheet, and another source for us is an a merge transformation. So we will try to create a file format for an Excel sheet, so as we mentioned in the previous sessions, and we will try to create an the SQL server. I mean to say the SQL server based data store. These two are two heterogeneous systems. We will try to merge these two or perform a union and load into the SQL server. That is what the aim of this particular the merge transformation activity, what we're trying to do now. So for that, this is a business requirement. So,
Hey, Venkat?
Yes, please.
Can you start sharing your screen again?
Oh, sure. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, so the business requirement is we have, one Walmart unit in big city, and so we have a very small city in which they are using Excel sheet. So in both areas, they have their own the suppliers, the list of suppliers, but they want to understand what are the full list of suppliers across the two areas. So one from the metropolitan city and the other one is from a small city. So let's take an example. So they have their suppliers list in an Excel sheet, and they have their suppliers list in SQL Server. Let us take an example. So what we have to do now is, so we have to understand, so the suppliers list from the Excel sheet, the suppliers list from the SQL Server have to be combined, have to be unioned, have to be merged, so that they will like to maintain the list of all the suppliers at one place in the SQL Server. That is the aim of this particular activity. So now, as we learned, so we have suppliers data coming from the same Northwind database. So here we have the information like what is supplier ID, supplier company, supplier contact name, contact title, and address, and etc. And so what actually we need to have? So we need to have a supplier information that exists in an Excel sheet. The customer has provided the supplier information in an Excel sheet actually, like this. See here they have given something called as supplier ID. So even they have the contact name. So all this information, so they have given in the form of an Excel sheet. Now what is our activity? So our activity is to perform the merge operation. So now what I'm going to do here? So I'm going to perform first import of the metadata. So from the Excel sheet. But before that, I will start defining the job for my merge transformation to discuss. Merge transformation. Within that, I'm using workflow underscore merge transform. Within the workflow again, so we are going to have a data flow. So 6 MIST. now we have defined a job workflow on the data flow. So now we are all very clear that one data is coming from the supplier. Okay, let us drag and drop and let us verify whether the connectivity and we are able to get the data or not. And the second source. So what I am referring here, the second source is coming from an Excel sheet. So till now, till today, actually we have defined only data source, because all our like data sources are maybe applications, maybe the RDBMS systems, maybe we have something called as like maybe an application or type of data source, or else maybe the cloud CRM. I mean to say like the adapter-based data sources that we see till now. So, so we have a file-based source. So now what I have to do file
Hello. Venkat, we can't hear you.
Here, if it is file based, I will create a file format. So that is what actually we have to do. So whenever it is a file format, so we have to do. Okay.
Venkat?
No, I mean to say here that we again got the same problem. So that's the only reason. So I just bear with me, guys. Why? Okay. So now I got a like system access. Now it seems to be the connection is on and off. So just bear with me today. So after this the session, I will constantly sit with that guy to not to repeat this type of issues in future. So just bear with me. And so yeah. So now we will see that a supplier's information here that is coming from the source. Now the customer information. So we got it, and so I request all the guys to please mute your microphones, please. So I'm getting some noise. Thank you. Yes, I got a supplier now. So what I have to do now? So I have to create a file format in order to facilitate the extraction from my Excel sheet. So that is what actually I have to do here. So yes, so right click in the file format area of the local object library, click on new. So it will bring the page for the file, the format. This is a file format for a .text file or .csv file, but we require a file format for an Excel sheet. See here, these are all the different types of the file formats that we can create. When I say different types of, the file formats, so that can be an Excel sheet, that can be .txt file, that can be .csv file, that can be HDFS file format, that can be DTD file, that can be an XML schema file format, that can be COBOL workbook, that can be an Excel sheet. These are all the different data sources, I mean to say the file sources where the BODS can extract the data from. Now, ours is an Excel sheet. Now, I just click on an Excel sheet and I will just try to give a file format. Similarly, what we are going to give the data store name, in the same way, we are going to give a file format. FF, the supplier file. You can give like that. FF means file format. The select folder. So on the desktop, I have that particular the file exists. So select file. So what is a file? This is a file. See here, actually, how actually you want to do an access. Access means whether you have a named range that you want to define here, or else if you want to have a worksheet. See here, if you observe carefully, so here on the desktop, so you have something called as the sheet 1 and sheet 2, as you know. Something like on sheet 1, so we have the data, and sheet 2 is empty and sheet 3 is also empty. The sheet 1, so we have a sheet 1 of data, right? So we have to select the sheet 1 of information whenever we're trying to create a file format. So FF the supplier information. So we have something called as directory, desktop. The file name would be like supplier Excel sheet. I'm using a work sheet here. And see here in the worksheet we have different sheets. We have sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, something like that. So I'm selecting sheet 1. Here we have an option called use first row values as column name. I simply clicked on the import scheme. So that is what actually happens here. So now we are trying to import the schema of what actually the Excel sheet has. Now, so click on OK. So I have created one file format where the file format is pertaining to Excel sheet. Now, the simply drag and drop. See here, so whenever I'm trying to drag and drop an Excel sheet, it is not asking whether it is a source or target. So that means to say that the Excel sheet can be used as a source to extract, but not into the target. So that is what actually you have to understand. So we can generate the file like .text file. We can load the data into .text file, .csv file, maybe other .xml files, but we cannot load the data into an Excel sheet directly. So that is what actually we have to understand here. It is a very, very important point to understand. So we can extract the data from Excel sheet, but we cannot load the data into an Excel sheet directly. So there are some, like workarounds. Workaround means while loading into the data, so we can mention like .xls in the file format itself. We will see that later on while dealing with the files. But this is how actually we have to proceed. Now we have two heterogeneous systems. So one is called an Excel sheet and another one is called as the SQL server actually data is coming from. Now what actually we have to do, so we have to simply use the merge transformation. That is what we our aim to perform. See here, drag and drop, simply connect. You go to the merge transformation. If you are going for the merge transformation, see here we have a lot of discrepancies we have. in the source is considered, in the target is considered. So we have to understand, so what are all the things that we need to take care here. So from the file format, what we have, we got some, like an extra fields where we doesn't have any particular, the file names or whatever it is. So similarly, so we have something called as a double, the data type, whereas in the traditional database, we don't have that type of database. Similarly, the varchar is also the different data types is also the different. And also, we also have something called as, the sequence is also different. So because here, none of the prerequisite condition is not satisfied here. So that's the reason why we have to make sure that we are following the proper prerequisite conditions. And also customer says that whatever the data coming from an Excel sheet, I want to have some identifier. Similarly, whatever the data is coming from an SQL server, I want to have an identifier in the target system. Something like please add one more field so that I will be able to understand maybe source. Source is a database or source is a file or something like that. So in order to facilitate all these things, what we have to do is we have to place a query transformation in between. So because we have to manipulate the metadata, like my column names, my data types, etc., that is coming from the source, I mean say from the Excel sheet, that we have to do. Again, we have to use the query transformation where the data or the metadata coming from the supplier table has to be manipulated. That's the reason why I'm using one more query transformation here. So now what actually we have to do here? So I'm trying to do here a scenario of supplier, the customer name, contact title, address. So this is the point till which I'm trying to consider here. But apart from that, the customer also wants to have one more field, that is a custom field, where that field will give us where actually data is coming from. So in order to facilitate that, in query transformation, I'm going to define a new output column. Right click on any place here, it will be grayed out. So if you right click on any existing column, so it will give us an options like new output column. So insert below. So here I would like to mention like source or maybe source system. So let us take an example that data is coming from maybe ECC system, maybe something else, maybe RDBMS system. So what I can do is, so I will define a varchar of 25 and I'm going to hardcode the value here. So if I have to hardcode the value, go to the mapping sheet of the newly generated column and simply give the name. What is the name that you want to have? I want to have something called as a database is my source in the single quote because it is a varchar. So that's it. So I've defined new column here, and I have maintain even the column name. So that is what I did actually. So now what is my next activity? My next activity is to only select the respective fields from the Excel sheet. So I'm interested only in the supplier ID, company name, contact name, contact title and an address, and I'm interested also in the data types. So what is the data type we have in supplier ID in an database is an integer. So that's the reason why I'm trying to change from double to integer. And so now we will also verify what we actually have. So we have something called as the 40 for company name, 30 for contact name, contact title is 30, address is 60. So these are the information we got actually from the source called database. So now what I am going to do here is I am going to perform an activity of so for company name we have 40, for contact name we have 30, for contact title we have 30 again, address is 60 and source system is 25. So that is what we have. So when I say company name, so we have something called as the 40. So let's have the 40 and 30 here. So let us change the same, the company name, that is varchar 40. So this is the varchar the 30. The contact title would be something like 60. No, this is also 30 and this is 60 and this is what we have. So after that we have something called as one more field that we need to add it here. So as I mentioned previously, the one more field would be something like source system. So right click and create new column that should be inserted below. That is called as like source system. Source system as I mentioned previously. So that is a varchar of 20 and so address. So here, so I'm trying to have some mapping. So what is the source here? The source here is a file. Yeah, you can say that an Excel file. You can simply say that an X file. So this is what actually happens here. So E file. So now, so we have completed the manipulations and all and everything on the different sources.
For source system, you have taken 25 as a varchar, I hope. Can you recheck?
Yes, please. So in source system, so we have given something like varchar as is 20, right? So 25. Okay, let us see. Now, so I have merged. So I see that almost all the same here. Now we will try to load it into the SQL Server. Now we will say that the supplier information by address, you can say that. So I'm trying to simply execute the job and let us see. So what exactly happens, whether we made it exactly the exact requirement as the exact requirements, or we got some something wrong with that, or we will see that. So it seems to be we have a problem with. So let us try to execute another job server. Okay. Okay, so this is the most common problem. So from the BODS administration standpoint, normally you will achieve it. Normally what happens is, so you have something called a JB underscore BODS client that is running on the port number called 3589. Sometimes you will have a problem with this. So like it says that whatever the job server that is supposed to run on this particular system, it won't identify the job server, whether it is running or not. So in that case, what actually you have to do is we have to restart the services of the job server. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to the data services server manager here. So in that, I will go to the configure editor and I will go to the respective the job server. What is that? The 3589 is the respective 3589. Where is that? 3589. Yes, this is the one. Okay, so resync. So this is what I have to resync actually. So when I say resync associated, so what is that? So BODS, I'm just resynced with the respect to username and password, and click on OK and close and restart. Here what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to restart the data services service on my system, so that whenever I'm going to restart the data services service on my system, what normally it will does is it will recheck what are all the local repositories got associated and etc. etc. It still has a problem. So what we will do is we will try to log off or log in and let us see, because we made a required changes. And now we will try to log off and log in and let us see what exactly happens here. Data services designer. I just did a double click on that. So by the time it will come up, so do you have any questions in the merge transformation, guys? So SAP user 14. SAP user 14. So we have something called as yeah. So you can also verify the services, data services dot MSC. So you can verify so where actually it is running. SAP here data services. It's already in started mode actually. So what you can do is you can log in and verify now. So I have just mentioned like so the respective username and password. Now we will be logging into the SAP BODS designer, and let us see what actually happens here. The BODS designer part. Yeah, so I'm able to log in. So because we have restarted the service, so what I feel is we should be able to connect now. The BODS demo 6 AMISC patch, where is that? Yes. So now we will try to execute the merge transformation related job, and let us see how it will go. Execute. Yes. So normally this is what actually happens in real system. What it is saying? It is saying that input schemas, modify the schemas. See here, they should match on columns, names, column types, and number of columns. It seems like we didn't satisfy the prerequisites. What needs to be done? So please verify where actually we gone wrong. It seems. See here. So can you just verify, guys, where actually we got wrong? So why actually the job is failing? Because we have satisfied all the things, right? So where actually it got wrong? Can you verify where we got wrong? Where we are wrong actually? Followed integer, everything is same. Are able to find out any difference between the schemas? With the source on with the query and the query underscore one.
Underscore one source system should be 255. Is that correct?
Okay, great. Okay, let's go there. Let's go there, and so let us change the source system of the source. It is 25. Okay, address is something like, okay. How much this is?
255.
255, but on the other system, what is the value?
25.
25 only.
25, yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, go there and check it. 25. Okay, great. Now we
No.
are all set.
Venkat,
Uh-huh.
I think address is 60 on the other side.
Yes. Oh, is it? Address is 60. Great.
Yeah. Source system
Okay,
is 20.
great,
Yeah,
great.
source system, not
So
the
we have to make it like 60, right? So let us see. Now we have done everything required, or still we are facing any problem? Let us see. Now it again says that there is a problem.
Is the order same?
Great point. We'll go there and verify now.
Yeah.
See here whether we are maintaining the order or not.
No.
Right. So what we will do now, we will go to the query and we will change the order. Right. So now I have made the respective changes here, guys. So now we will try to execute the job. Let us see. again we have a problem. What it is saying? So, okay, what it is an error message? Why it is failing? Right.
I think you have to close the file.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to close the file. Okay, with me. So, able to hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Close. So now I'm trying to execute the job. Okay, there is a warning for the virtual memory. So the admin guy will take care of it in general. So that's the reason why there is a like the so that's the reason why so we are getting a lot of issues on the system from the from the performance standpoint, from the connectivity standpoint even. These are all the list of the records coming from one is from Excel sheet and another one is from the SQL server. So now we will see the finally data is. So there are some records where the data is coming from the database. There are some records where the data is coming from the file even. So getting my point, what I see here. So do you have any questions in this? So you're clear on this, the merge transformation. Do you have any questions?
When did I have a question?
Yes, please.
So let's say you're merging these two data sources and you also have a numeric column, let's say quantity or sales price or something like that. If there is a row that has a, all those columns exactly the same except for that column where you have numeric values are different, what happens to that row? So do you get two rows or is there an option to, aggregate them and show it, or how does that work?
So what I understand is you are saying that one row is coming as an integer from the source system, 1, right? And so you have the same row like with where it is coming, right?
No. Okay, let's say for the supplier ID 26, company name, contact title, address are all the same, right?
Okay.
And then, but there is a column called quantity. In the quantity column, you have, for 26, for a source system database, you have quantity as 25, and E file you have quantity as 50. So when we do the merge transform and load it to the target table, how does that row come in as? Do you have two rows, or is there an option to merge them because every other column is exactly the same?
Great point, you're right. So yeah, that is the point I'm about to discuss actually. So the merge transformation, what we did till now, it is a union all. Do you have any idea regarding what is the difference between the union and union all?
Union is like like you'll get full outer join kind of a thing, like where you'll get records from both the tables, and you'll be able to show.
Okay. So the basic difference between the union and union all is that whenever you are trying to merge, whenever you are trying to perform a union of two sources, so even though you have duplicate records with same, then those records will be called as, those records also will come up without any problem in the target system. So let us take an example that we have the same record with supplier ID in the source, and we have the same supplier ID with the supplier ID 26 in the like in a database also. Whenever we are trying to load it, and if the both records are coming up, that is called as a union all, because we are having a duplicate supplier ID. When I say duplicate supplier ID here, why I am saying the duplicate supplier ID? Because the supplier ID is a primary key. So if you have more than one primary key, normally what happens, that is a primary key violation. So, but as for my requirement, I may get a duplicate the primary key, because I am trying to merge two different data sources. In that case, what I will do is, I will just remove the primary key constraint. I will try to load with union all. So by default, let us take an example that, so here, so I have something called as quantity. So whenever the data is coming from the Excel sheet, it is not a primary key. Okay, so but whenever the data is coming from the database, I think it is a primary key. So what you can do is, you can remove the primary key constraint here at this particular point. You can execute the job. Now what actually happens, even though you have a supplier ID 26 in both the places, you will get two different records, even the quantities are different. So getting my point, what I mean to say here. So let us take an example that, okay. So we have something called as a supplier ID coming from one, something like coming from file actually. The supplier ID 26, whereas the quantity is something like 5. Let us take an example. And the supplier ID 26 with the different name, it is coming up with different source, it is coming up. The supplier ID 26 and the quantity is 3. So what you are saying is, whether these will get merged or these will get act as a different individual records. Whenever I removed a primary key on this particular the supplier, this record is and this record both are two independent records. You will get both the records as an individuals into the target system. These records won't be merged. So getting my point, what I mean to say here, this is what actually happens here. Now, what is meant by a union? This is called as a union all actually, because it is not bothered about what is the duplicate keys we have, because I'm not defining any primary keys here. Even though there is a primary key, I'm just wantedly removing it. That is one point. And second point, because I'm trying to do a merge of two heterogeneous systems, I will make sure that whatever the primary keys I have in both the systems, their series is entirely different. I mean to say, like, so if you remember, like, we have like the primary key, like the series is entirely different. See here, the records coming from the database are having a series of 26, 27, something like that. They are having a series of where the data is coming from the file. They have a series of 100 to 106 and something like that. So wantedly, what I want to do, I want to separate these two records with two independent or two different integer series of primary keys. Okay, so this is called as, what are the scenarios that Raju has asked like this? This is called as a what you call as union all. Union. This is a scenario called union all. So what are maybe the duplicate keys? Here my plan is to have a like have a what you call as defining the supplier ID as a primary key after my merge transformation. See here, after my merge transformation, I can do a lot of manipulations actually. So if you want to merge it, like if you want to have 26 and 8, you can also do that, not a problem. But with the help of a query transformation, so we have to make use of that actually. So with the help of a query transformation, how to do that? So after merge transformation, simply place a query transformation like this, and what you can do is you can drag and drop what you have here like this, and you can also say that if you have any quantity field, so what you can do is you can perform something called as a group by. So what is a group by column on which you are trying to have the quantities aggregated? You can say that my group by point is, let us take an example that I also have a group by quantity field. Let us take an example. I am just adding the quantity field actually here. Okay. So just adding the quantity field here, the quantity field integer. So don't go with the meaning of it. I'm just giving a very random value. Okay, don't go with that. So 5. Okay, so after that, so you can have something like again a quantity here. Quantity integer as 4. Let us take an example. This is not a meaningful information because for each and every supplier ID, maybe the quantity will be different. Okay, so let's not go with the meaning of it. But what I mean to say here is, so here I got a quantity. So now what I can do is, so I will do a sum of, actually in the merge transformation. So I have something called as quantity here. I don't have a quantity here. Okay, in another. Okay, where I don't have a quantity, here I don't have a quantity, I define a quantity, right? So quantity, insert below, and an integer, and I will say like I have the 5, and where I have missed it, let us see. I have defined an integer 5. I have defined an integer 5. Okay, that is fine. And after that, the merge transformation is there. So it will come up automatically. So simply drag and drop. Now, if I want to do a sum of quantity, if you want to do an aggregation wantedly, so what I can do is, I can do a sum here like this. Sum of quantity like this. But based upon what you want to sum up, based upon all the fields I want to sum up. This is what actually happens. So whatever you have asked, like the merge of the data also, maybe also the quantities comes under the aggregation. That aggregation part that you have to manually do actually. Okay, here the cumulative aggregation won't happen by default. You have to do it manually. So getting my point, what I meant to say here? There is one example that we are going to see down the sessions where it will help us to understand what is an order by and group by in more closely. There is an example dedicated to that to explain you the group by. But you understand what I mean to say here? So by default, if we don't define any primary keys, the merge transformation will give us union all. Union all. But if you have defined any primary keys and if you feel that what you call as data are maintained perfectly in the two different systems like primary keys and all, there is no point of having the union all because each and every systems they have their own series of primary keys and all. So there is no point of having the duplicate keys. So you will get a union in general, not a union all. So getting my point, what I mean to say, and what is the difference between the union and union all, and or what you call as, so how to achieve the aggregation within an SAP BODS?
Yep.
Are you clear, Raju, Chandra and team?
Yes, Venkat.
Okay. So, but I think that in SAP BW that will happen by default, right? So you have to so the aggregation will happen automatically. Guys, are able to hear me?
Yes, Venkat. Now I'm going to hear.
Okay, great. So actually, like if today, like our time is not good actually. So we have a lot of server issues and all. So I will sit with that guy and I will make sure that that guy verifies the couple of times before I enter into the session. So I will make sure that it will not happen. Normally it will not happen, but somehow the today is this is a weekend and these guys are not available on time. That's the reason why the issues happen. Just bear with me for today, and so from tomorrow onward we will see that. So the exact server and all. And Chandra, regarding the server access, I will talk to the the Kavi and other guys, and so when they can give you. So I think like they have sent me the server details yesterday.
I think Venkat, Meena has got the server access details. I did not. I don't know whether the rest of the team has got an email or not.
Verify. So let us see. You will also get the server details.
Okay.
And Venkat, I have a doubt.
Oh, is it? So you can ask about the team and Don whether they got it or not. Yes, Acharya. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we are merging two different systems, and here in this, in this situation, we have taken probably 4 or 5 fields to merge. But in such a case, if you want to take probably hundreds of fields, to merge. I mean, in two different systems, then how come we will make them equal, hundreds of fields?
Got your point.
Hello. Yeah.
Normally the merge transformation is useful. Like in a scenario where you're trying to like sources, but with more of an aggregation information. So getting my point, you will be getting only like the primary the fields, like maybe 4 or 5 or 6 or 10. Normally, they will limit the number of columns to merge instead of fields. In the case, normally we will make use of the merge transformation. Getting my point? What I mean to say here?
Okay. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Chandra, like, can you just ask the other team members whether they got it or not? Like Don, the Karen, Mike. Great. Karen has received it. Okay, maybe they have missed it for you, maybe Chandra. I will talk to Don. Had got it. Don, did you receive the server details?
Yeah,
I think Don is.
I got that email.
Okay.
Okay. So what about Mike?
I didn't see the email.
Oh, you didn't receive. Okay. So the pending ones are Chandra and Mike. Am I correct? Okay, great. So I will talk to the run tech, right? And I will send an email saying the thing, and the required access number. Okay, I will talk to them, but I really apologize for today's session. So there is a lot of the issues that happened. So I will make sure that the server is up and running. Okay.
And Venkat, a small doubt again.
That. Yes, please carry on. Carry on, Acharya, carry on.
Yeah. I mean, what are the different source systems we can merge? I mean, today we merge Excel
We
and
can merge,
other system, right?
yeah. So it doesn't matter. So we can merge any number of heterogeneous systems. If it is an SAP and Excel sheet, you can merge it. If it is an Excel sheet and SQL Server, you can merge it. You can have any number of any type of system that you can take up and you can merge it. There is no limitation actually.
Okay. Yeah, got it. At a time we can merge two, or we can merge three also?
Any number of systems, but only the thing is you can have those prerequisites should be fulfilled. Other than that, everything should be the same.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Thank you.
So we can spend a lot of time today on the the development part. So today we have completed the merge transformation. So tomorrow we will see the transformation and the other one may be the validation. So validation itself will take 2 hours of time. So if I start the validation tomorrow, so you will see the validation alone for tomorrow itself. So on day after tomorrow we will go with the rest of the other transformation. So do you have any questions so far in query and case transformation, merge transformation?
No, Venkat.
If you don't have any questions, I would like to hang up the call for today and we will continue